welcome back to Crypto City. Thank you for joining us tonight. Going to make our intro very quick tonight because we have a very special guest coming on with a lot of content to cover. But I do want to talk about something just real quick. We all know that Taylor Swift has been in the news a lot lately because of her, she's famous. She's dating a football player who's famous. They're all over the place because it's what sells. Everybody wants the media. And, she's just popular with so many different people. But did you know that there's more to Taylor Swift than just pop songs and country songs and dating someone famous? She's actually changing a lot of the way that business is being done in the music industry. And, we talk a lot about Web3 and, what is Web3? And it's, there's a big, question mark in there for a lot of people who are new to this. People who are actively involved in it understand it a little bit more. But, Web3, short for Web 3.0, it's a vision for the future of the internet where, data applications, digital interactions, everything's decentralized and controlled by the users rather than centralized authorities and corporations. So it relies on blockchain technology and smart contracts to enable trustless, secure peer-to-peer transactions. But it empowers the individuals to have greater ownership and control over their online activities, their assets, all those types of things. So in essence, Web3 aims to create a more open, transparent, internet where individuals can interact and transact in a more democratic manner. Currently it's a work in progress, it's ever evolving, but there's greater utility being built into it for its users. And its main ethos or credo, whatever you want to call it, is to pretty much disrupt the norm and empower content creators and for you to own your relationship with your audience. Well, Taylor Swift has made a bunch of shrewd business moves, which, have her reasserting control over her music and producing, she did the concert film, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, which actually brought in $123 million opening weekend at a box office. Everybody around the world got to see her concert that maybe couldn't afford to get tickets to go see it. So she found another way to bring it to them at a lower cost that, gave everybody a fair chance to be part of it. Her ability to disrupt the traditional entertainment models and empower the content creators, it's worth making note of. In many ways, her journey mirrors that credo that we talked about of Web3. It's emphasizing on the importance of challenging the status quo and fostering genuine connections and experiences for her audience. Web3 isn't just a buzzword. It's a game changer for content creators and their audiences. It represents the departure from repetitive content and moves toward more of a deeper engagement between the artist and the audience. Platforms like Spotify and Ticketmaster are also recognizing the potential of Web3, and they're actively integrating it into their services, like Spotify's tokenized enabled playlists and Ticketmaster's NFT integrations. Those are exciting examples of this shift in the norm of actions for the music industry. And some artists, I don't know if many of you know Avenged Sevenfold, they're a great rock artist. They've made significant strides in the Web3 space by improving their ticket sales and enhancing real-life experiences for their fans. Taylor Swift and others are, leading the charge for creators and their communities. Web3 is constantly evolving and offering new ways in meaningful interactions and experiences for the audiences. The entertainment landscape is undergoing a transformation, where both creators and audiences are taking on new roles. It's not just, create the music and sell it and make everybody pay through the nose to get it. The audiences are getting better opportunities. And, Web3 has the potential to break free from the constraints of the repetitive content, standardized, platforms, and, the creators are being able to think for themselves and connect more deeply with their fans and providing, just not only a better experience for the audience, but in turn for themselves, because the audience members are more engaged with them and more people are starting to follow them because they're not inaccessible anymore. It's not just an option. Web3 is a necessity. It offers a fresh approach on how the industry operates, and major platforms are beginning to acknowledge this. The future of entertainment is being reshaped, We're going to see a lot of changes over the next year. We've already seen a ton. It's just going full steam ahead. They're no longer taking, little strides where they're stepping in and, put their toe in the water, see how it feels. They're like running in up to their waist right now and saying, this is working. How much deeper can I go? So, pay attention to everything going on around you. It's not about Taylor Swift. It's not about, Spotify and Ticketmaster. It's about the industry as a whole and how it's going to become, so much better for all of us in a very short amount of time. So keep an eye out for your favorite bands as they enter this and introduce different activations that will inspire, more exciting ways for you to connect with your favorite artists. So tonight I am bringing on a very special guest that many of you already know, that all of us who do know him love him. He was my co-host in season 1, and he's been on a couple times since then. I would love it if you all to give a warm welcome to PixelAddikt. Come on out, Pixel.
Hey, how's it going,
How you doing?
I'm good.
Welcome to the new Crypto City.
Yeah, this is amazing. Just getting used to VR chat. Been here a bunch of times, but not in a world to give a presentation. So yeah, it looks amazing. I love it.
Yes, this is our beautiful world from Kip, and we've really been excited about this platform over here. It's been offering us a lot of opportunities, and I welcome you to the new Crypto City stage. Go ahead and grab a seat.
Okay.
If you go right in front and you can drop your hand down, you should be able to grab the seat collider.
Grab the seat collider.
It should say sit when you turn and face it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Look like a noob here. What's going on?
It's okay. You can stand if you want.
Reach your hand down
I'm supposed to...
towards the seat.
Oh, I see. Okay, there it is.
There you go.
That worked out. Yeah, because I'm sitting on a couch. I'm not actually. That's probably why.
So, welcome back. And I know that since you've been here last, you've been doing some amazing things, both in, your videos and AI art and stuff that you dabbled in with us a little bit last time you visited. So, tell us how your journey's been going.
Yeah, it's been busy. Like I did the alt space and kind of did VR chat for a long time, and just last year I got really interested in AI. So I've been doing, as a technologist, it's my job to kind of see what's coming up, and then I found AI, and I've been following it for years though. So as we kind of go through, I'll give you a little bit of my past, and so I've just been kind of jumping in head first and real deep. And just learning everything about, the ins and outs of it. So I just didn't want to, go on mid-journey and just make a dragon or make, nice kind of photos. I wanted to see how the tech works and, really dive in and really build with the tools. So, yeah, I've been kind of doing this for a while. I jump from tech to tech, and I use it in my job every day. I work in Shopify, and I work with, Uncle Vin Rock. So we do Naughty by Nature and Illtown Sluggas, and so it's all about how we can take this AI and incorporate it into our work. And so it's just been startup and different helping other people and constantly kind of pushing all our brands. So we work with tons of brands, and so we just did Sprayground and Champion are kind of the brands that we were working with Naughty by Nature. And so we just did a backpack, and we're able to take that backpack and bring it in kind of AI, and then bring it in, actually put it on kind of, some of these AI models. So for the merch part, for the Shopify part, it's just amazing to work with. So that's my kind of bread and butter, is the generative AI, right? There's a lot of I work with the LLMs and ChatGPT just like everyone, but I found that the art side of it, right, was kind of a lot more interesting. So
I've definitely been watching your stream. It's beautiful. The things that you've been creating, it's been great.
Thanks. Yeah, I dig in, right? So I kind of get into the videos, and I get into once I see somebody do something in AI, I kind of deconstruct it, find new tools, find new extensions, and then I'm able to kind of build it myself. So the creativity is unlimited, right? Like you're able to do like so much with AI. So I just kind of take tools and keep on building and building. And I've been getting a lot of DMs kind of from people and, hey, can you do this for me and do that? So it's fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Cool. So yeah, we'll jump in. We'll kind of go through. Like I got a lot of slides, but we'll go through them pretty quick, and we'll kind of just talk about the history and kind of some of the tools involved, and kind of educate some people. And then if they're interested, I'll send you some links, and they can kind of visit them on their own. And obviously, YouTube's exploded, right, with tons of content. Mm-hmm. So tutorials and different AI. So big, it has so many different facets that you can get kind of overwhelmed with and this is the fastest tech I've ever seen. I mean, I thought Web3 and VR and everything was advanced, but so as we go through, I'll kind of show you that this is all machine learning, right? This is kind of where it all started, was the chess, right? When the AI kind of beat the chess guy, that was Kasparov back in, that was early 90s.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but just recently, they figured out that this reinforcement learning, that was kind of the big thing, that they kind of taught it, right? The GPT is generative pre-trained transformers. And that word transformer, they're not the robots, not the cartoon, they're not anything like that, but it kind of opened up this whole new world of kind of being able to pre-train in that. So, it started with being able to take a style, and that was a big thing back in, early last year. A few years ago, it was taking a style and applying it to different photos. And that was kind of the biggest thing. And NVIDIA and Google DeepMind was the big one back then. So as you can see, all of the big tech, all the guys are into it. Google, Amazon, Microsoft obviously owns a part of OpenAI, and that's one of the biggest AI companies. That's one everybody knows, the ChatGPT. They're the ones that created that. So it's been just a roller coaster nonstop since then. And yeah, like I said, this is the fastest growing tech I've ever seen in my life. It is absolutely insane to keep up with. There's constantly new companies, constantly new kind of things. And the big thing that came out last year for me was this stable diffusion. So, I always preach about open source, and that's the biggest thing ever, right? Linux is open source, and that was the big platform, but this is the open source for the generative AI, and it's called stable diffusion. And it's they took 2 billion images. They took all the images on the internet and kind of compressed it down to a 2 gig file. So, and these are called checkpoints. And you're able to you're able to load these checkpoints, and that's how you get all these beautiful kind of, photorealistic to comic books to kind of everything. And we'll go through and you'll see some of the photos I've been generating nonstop. I let this thing run overnight, all in the cloud, and it's just been absolutely crazy. So it's the open source part. It's the being able to share the ideas and the tools. I've always been into Android, versus Apple. So the Android part, the open source, this has been crazy. If you're into Linux, if you're into Python and all these, really big languages, this is the place for you to be. You'll feel right at home. And if you kind of skip through there, Blue.
Actually, can I ask you a question? So this stable diffusion, so I'm thinking back to, you and I had a conversation earlier in season 2. We talked about when you were creating, not you personally, but anyone creating AI images. And I was like, God, they're so beautiful, but the faces are so wonky. Sometimes the eyes, the fingers and stuff. And you were like, oh no, this is going to get fixed with stable diffusion. Is that how that came about? Why now that the AI generated art, you've got gorgeous features on faces, and before did that have a huge play in it?
Well, yes and no. So what's happened there is like the resolution got a lot better and the tools got a lot better. So, and a lot of thing too is they were using these cloud platforms like Midjourney and that, and they were generating, but like that kind of Midjourney is like a cheat code. Midjourney is its own platform that, it did a lot of the heavy lifting in the back. If you were doing it on your own, if you were doing it through like, downloading a model off the Civet AI that's on the screen right now, you can download all these different models that do all these different styles. And when you download them, it's really on you to kind of control, you have to prompt. Just like you prompt in the chat GPT, you have to prompt these images, but you have to do it properly. You have to know the structure of them. So they get trained on all these images, but there's tokens, there's keywords essentially that are in these prompts. You have to make sure that you're using the right prompts. So you have to make sure that you say beautiful face, and different ages, no wrinkles. Okay. You have to say, elongated neck, no, there's negative, there's a positive prompt and a negative prompt. And that kind of lets you control how these images get developed, right? And a lot of the thing comes down to resolution. So when they started training them, they were training it on 512 by 512, these small little images. So you could scale up, but you had to learn how to, there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of things about how to upscale these images. So there's extensions that we use, there's software that we use to be able to, there's actually upscalers, and there's models that use upscalers. And Midjourney was a big one that kind of used these ups to make sure that the eyes get, the photorealistic eyes come in, that the skin pores, right? Like that's important. So there was different types of photorealistic models that had to get trained, and they would train them on, like modeling photos, right? All the modeling photos, all the photos that people take high res. So, we've come a long way since last year. Now we're doing 1024 by 1024. So all of the new models get trained on a higher resolution. So now I'm able to produce, 4K, 8K kind of images. And I can do panoramic images. There's all these different tools. I kind of control that. So, nice. Yeah, it's been quite the process. Yeah, it's not simple. Okay, like it's hard to when you get into these things, but there are simple platforms like the two that I've got on screen now. You can go to Leonardo.ai. Or you can go to playgroundai.com.
I love Playground.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's got in painting, it's got all these extra things, but you can essentially write a prompt. You can take other people's prompts and you can regenerate, and you can do your dragons, you can do beautiful girls that are models, you can do photorealistic, you can do puppies. I know you love your puppies. So we can generate all different types of dogs. And you'll see too quickly there, I learned how to train. So generating some of these AI, that's one thing, right? But then learning how to actually make your own model. That's how much of a geek I am. You know me, I'm not going to just use somebody else's tools. So I got into learning how to train. And this is what happened to my computer when I started using AI. It actually just burnt up. And you have to learn how to go into the cloud. Yeah, so these are all GPUs, the everybody knows video cards in your computers, but these GPUs are what power a lot of this software. And, everybody has a video card, but I'm telling you, it doesn't have enough virtual memory, doesn't have enough power to actually generate these photos. Now, there are techniques, I won't lie, there are techniques that you can get it so that your computer, small one, can generate, but it's not going to start doing the amazing big photos. So I started working in the cloud. There's a system called runpod.io, and it's essentially tens of thousands of GPUs, NVIDIA. Now there's NVIDIA and AMD, but NVIDIA is the clear winner. They are the boss.
Absolutely.
They have the the RTX series, and everybody got into GeForce, and so that's the system that I use. That's kind of where I play in the cloud with all these GPUs, and I run a lot of these AIs kind of because you just don't have enough power. You can buy a computer that has a lot of these, but it's just going to cost you into the above 5K, 10K, like it's not going to be a little $1,000 laptop or anything like that. You can generate some, but it's not going to do what it needs to do.
Not to get to the professional level.
No, it's not. So, I kind of got into like, how do I train these AIs? And that was a big stepping stone. That was a big part. Here in Canada, we have a lot of Indigenous kind of people. So I took like a lot of their art. This was the first time I took art and then I trained it. On the left, you see the input images. And on the right, those are what I output. So that was the first time I'm like, oh, I can do dresses and I can do purses and I can do merch. So that kind of really opened up to being able to train my own. And there's different types of training. I won't get into that, but there's textual inversions, there's Dream Booth, and you'll see Dream Booth was more about, taking kind of images. Like I saw my puppy. I love Holly, and I saw my puppy around the house, and I took pictures of her, and I was able to train, and that's where I got like the lens up part, where I create, like model photos and different avatars. So that's what people were doing, even last year. So I got into that as well, and I started outputting different photos. If you go to the next one, that's where my daughter, I just took photos of her, and she's like, Daddy, you can make me a model, and I could. So I trained it on her, and then I generated all these different styles and all these different, modeling, and you can do very surreal, right? Very surrealistic kind of ones that you can kind of generate. And that's where I love that. And then I did my family, I did my wife, I did me, and I did obviously Uncle Vin, and I did DJ KG, and I kind of took theirs, and then we're able to generate photorealistic and images. People ask me, how do you do that? How are you able to kind of create all these? You see the Pixar version, you can have different poses. But that's all about, your training in AI, which is its own course. We could spend an hour talking about how that happens, but it's about taking, photos that they have and then using the AI to kind of, with a lot of different settings, and then essentially it was creating virtual models. Right, virtual avatars. So every photo that you see in this presentation, by the way, I created all of them. They're all AI. Some people are like, it's not stock photography, it's not anything, and it gets really crazy near the end where these are obviously very photorealistic. You see the skin, you see the lighting on the skin, you see the hair. So I'm able to create like a very diverse, different stylized ones and different, scenarios. And that's kind of how this is coming
from your prompts. You're telling it, like take this image, and you're giving it the instructions to spit out what you want from it.
Yeah, you are, and you're also kind of stylizing it as well, right? So how so here I was able to, prompt the first one where it was like just, white girl in a black hoodie, kind of, nice with a studio background, and then obviously I superimpose, logos, and then I kind of did her different, African American, and then I kind of just pushed it into, in a scene in New York, street level, with bokeh kind of background, artistic, cinematic. You're right. You use all the different keywords. And then that was the first one that got me lots of DMs, lots of attention. It went viral. And Vin Rock kind of hit me on the side. He's like, oh my God, is that your AI? Like, this was the first one. So this kind of pushed it into, okay, now we're not playing games. Now you can actually create photorealistic models using AI, and this is where I kind of took the ball and just started running down the field and used these sort of extensions. So ControlNet is like the largest extension for Stable Diffusion, and it has there's different models, but one of them is OpenPose. So you can drag any photo online, any pose, any model pose, or any photo of merch, and you can extract, the body itself. You can extract different different templates of the actual photo. So you can take like the depth map, you can take the normal map, you can take like the outlines. So I'm going to create like diverse, different ages, different styles, all from one photo. So it kind of gives you the power to really control the pixels. I'm PixelAddikt. I like to kind of control the pixels. So this ControlNet was amazing.
Wow.
And this is kind of where it went, right? It went to like, okay, now I can do different poses. Obviously, like there's like 3D poses, and there's lots of stock photography that have tons of modeling photos. Well, now I can extract that data from the photo and then repurpose it for my own. I can add my own logos. I can add my own different types of girls, guys, and kind of really generate. Now, this is my cream. This is the top. This is the latest. These are all the most photorealistic photos that I've ever done. So this
It definitely looks like a photo.
Oh, it's crazy. Now, the prompts are really big. They're very extensive. I won't lie. It's not just a simple, smile girl. It's there's a lot of skin. There's a lot of keywords to describe the background, to describe the look. Yeah, so the facial kind of features, there's a lot of prompts. Now, within the prompts, you have to really control like the weight of the prompts, right? So let's say like some of them you want the smile to be more prominent than the background. So you really have to play with what they're wearing, right? And like a lot of their ethnicity, like you have to control how it kind of gets output. So, and you're using different models, right? There are different models that you can use. It's not just one base model, even though the base model is very good. So this was a photo that I took on the left that was just a stock photo, and I was able to completely transform it. And you can see too, like none of this is Photoshop. Like the logos I obviously Photoshop and transposed on top. But I mean, when you get into like changing someone from, white to black, like you can see that like, the cultural differences, right? And kind of the facial features, and like those features get translated in the AI. The AI knows what the difference is between different ethnicities, and it kind of brings that out. And I was really happy that I was able to kind of transform and change some of these photos, but also generate not just, constantly. A lot of the stock photography back years ago, I'm in Photoshop, was a lot of white guys, white girls, and that. So I liked that I was able to kind of like transform for different cultures and kind of do that. And that's our biggest thing, right? Merch. Uncle Vin, he loves his merch. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So it was all about naughty shorties and kind of Illtown sluggas, and let's get a lot of the merch kind of into these models so that we can expose them and kind of get them out to the world. And instead of waiting for model shots, and we still do model shots, we still do kind of scenes, but this kind of opens up the creativity, opens up different scenarios, backgrounds. You can have dynamic backgrounds, so I can just let it run, and and the photorealism is real important here. So the hair, how the hair strands, it's not, you don't necessarily have to prompt specific hair kind of. You can do hairstyles, but the AI kind of now knows. It's been a year and a half now, so there's certain prompts that you can put cinematic, and it'll kind of give it those kind of looks, that texture that you kind of need. So eye color is a big thing, and I like doing surreal, and so I figured I might as well make my own influencers, right? Like I might as well take the beautiful of the beautiful and just create fantasy kind of AI models. So I went with a very diverse kind of crew, and this is my 5 kind of crew that I put together, and I was able to create images after images, and I mean thousands of images. So I've got so many for each one of these that I was able to kind of really do different backgrounds and different looks and different clothes and different scenarios and different jobs, right? So that I can kind of have that bulk, that tons of content, so that I can put that out on social media. So Miel was the first one, and my wife helped, and that was our little project. And we just came up with names for all of them, and we just gave them, personalities. We gave them, backgrounds and where they're from and kind of what people are. So we're able to put them in, nice, sophisticated kind of areas and private planes and red carpets. And then the one on the right, I was able to do like surrealism, like really big, bubble gum and fantasy and worlds and islands, and I mean, it is insane the amount of variety and kind of complexity I can have with all these different outlines. So we love these. These are our favorite people in the world because they just look so beautiful and so perfect, and but yet they have imperfections. We made sure that we output something in their skin and kind of they're human, we didn't do perfect skin all the time, and we gave them kind of different facial hair, but my man Remy, he's cool, he looks really cool, wears all the different clothes. The one in the center with the flower background is all these artists, so I'm able to take Van Gogh and Basquiat and kind of all these different, I'm a big kind of Pablo Picasso, so I'm big on taking different photos and putting backgrounds like painted splash, right, and spray paint and graffiti, and kind of, so we're able to put them in all different types of suits, not just black and white suits, red or turquoise, and kind of put them into, and you'd be surprised, City, the AI, if you give it like a turquoise suit, it knows to put some turquoise in the backgrounds, and it just kind of makes everything match.
Accentuate.
So the worlds that I get so excited. I like that I'm able to kind of create, and we created one, that was non-binary. Ren is non-binary, and because we figured it's a diverse world. It's 2023, and we knew that there's a lot of different looks and a lot of different kind of popular magazines and kind of popular fashion. So we're able to kind of bring, a lot of different kind of people into the world that are really diverse, right? We took diverse ethnicities, diverse genders, and we just kind of mixed everything and played with a lot of these open poses, played a lot with, 3D models. So I was able to, create the girl, create the chair, and then I put the chair, the girl in the chair. And I thought, once I started doing that, I really started controlling how I output and how I kind of do all these different images.
So the thing I see with this that is, obviously the beauty that you see here is amazing. But from a business standpoint, I'm looking at this like, how much money do you save not doing a photo shoot at a studio? The amount of time it takes for the photographer, and then not for nothing, but dealing with the attitudes of these models, and having to deal with the human element. You're eliminating that, but keeping the human look, and saving time, money, overhead, all of that, and doing that at a quarter of the amount of time.
Yeah, it comes down to business, and I know that, a lot of people have different opinions on, work and artists and models, and it's just that some of these companies they're going to move forward with things like this. So, being able to, like you said, save money on, travel fees and hotels and videographers and photographers. I know that there's jobs, and I know that specialty, but some of the jobs, and it's a reality that some of the jobs will go and it'll turn into these are cover girls, right? We worked with CoverGirl, and these are legit, these look beautiful, and we know some of them are AI, we know, but we also know that some of these models you can prep for some of this, but you're prepping the hair and the makeup and the hours and hours to be able to place them and put the scenes behind them, and that costs a lot of money. And some companies and brands, they're going to want to save a little bit of that so that it's not so bad, and that's just kind of how it is. So moving on, there's a little bit more to cover. And I started doing, the NFTs. So I actually took some of these AI creations, and obviously I can create, photorealistic little cartoons. So we can take, on the cartoon level. So we can take these and add them and make them NFTs, right? And obviously all the art that you can do, and there are tons of NFTs. So that was just one thing that we did.
Now, obviously you talked about the merch that you created. You're marketing the merch with these models, obviously wearing it and selling it and everything else. I did see too, on some of the stuff that you were generating out there, that I actually see, Vin, he's posting the things that you're creating. And if you didn't know that you were doing it that way, you would never know. You would never know that this
No, some of
wasn't,
them
you know,
wouldn't know.
yeah, they're incredible. They're so realistic.
Yeah, and you're able to do, like, the last one was like just AI print on demand, right? So create different arts and kind of add that. And here's where you get into logos, right? People spend hours and hours and tons of money on logos. I was able to generate 1,000 logos for my new company. So I just did one for Daydream. We're going to do one for New Economy. And I was able to just kind of generate and create a brand for branding. So you can create brands like really quick and really intense. So to us, like, that's just saves money. And, you know, these are the new QR codes. This is, you know, people find these really wild.
Wow.
And these all scan. Yeah, and they're kind of, so you can take your logos and take your branding and kind of really move them into, you know, use AI to control. This is use ControlNet, a specific control net that, you know, would, and it's about the weight I was talking about. So you can play with the weights and kind of different starting prompts, ending prompts, and it'll be able to kind of generate beautiful photos like this.
Absolutely amazing. I've seen a lot of these QR codes out there now with people's logos built into them, color schemes in them. And you're right. You put your phone over it, it immediately scans it right up. So the creativity behind that, you know, for people to, instead of having these ugly QR codes, you know, just black and white in the middle of their, you know, marketing materials, now you've got something really beautiful blended in with your branding. It's nice.
Yeah, and this is kind of in the next 3-4 slides here. We can go through them pretty quick. It's just more just logos that I've taken kind of, you know, people's brands and kind of just merge them into, you know, nature. So you're able to kind of merge them into rooftops and graffitis and walls and kind of, you know, so Photoshop would do that, but now you're doing it instantly. So I'm able to kind of take all these brands and say, okay, I want a spiral staircase. You know, Ozzy has that look. So it's say, generate me an Ozzy Osbourne kind of logo. And, you know, I'm using like a black and white, you know, image behind it and just telling it, you know, to generate. And this is one of my favorite. I love this. You know, Vin loves it. KG loves it. You know, it's just, you know, we're taking, you know, that Slugga, the famous mascot from Illtown Sluggas, and I was able to train it and kind of create. And the funny thing is, if you look on his chest in the center, that says Slugga, I didn't write that. I swear that's the AI that I told it put. Well, I told it, I said, put Slugga, Slugga, and now it'll get it wrong a few times. There you can see double A's and kind of things, but I was able to create these videos, these amazing, using Deform. I was able to kind of prompt it and say, okay, start at a park, let's add some DJs, let's add some rooftop party.
Oh, I
and it's
saw
able
that
to
video,
kind of push it.
yes.
Yeah,
it was amazing. It just kind of kept morphing as it went along. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know if you can click play on these. I don't know if it's because you're on Canva and you're just displaying it, but I don't know if you can click play in the center there. But it'll actually kind of, yeah, if you just click play. So there you can see, the people in the crowd can see that that's what she was talking about, it morphing into other types of kind of images. And yeah, so that's kind of my big thing now too with video is, okay, how can I add motion and how can I take these prompts and kind of merge and make, you know, new branded videos and branded kind of, you know, actually I did a music video. There's a couple slides in it coming up there where I did music videos. And so yeah, I was able to take brands and kind of, so they gave us the backpack, but they just gave us the image. So I was able to create the 3D model, you know, a ControlNet version of it, put it on a model, and then put it in different scenes. And, you know, for brands, you know, that's something powerful, you know, like they don't have to wait now to, they don't have to wait. So, yeah, you can go through some of these fairly quickly there. These are just kind of different brands. And I love Nike. I work with Jordan. I work with Nike. And, you know, it's taking the new creativity out of these shoes. And we work with different brands and different kind of artists. And we worked with Next by Nature, which is a project that DJ KG and Vin Rock, they kind of work with. And we're able to create all these different videos and stylized videos and take a video that already exists and kind of and push it into AI and give it all these different styles. Now these, you know, I wouldn't be lying, these are hard. These took lots of hours of, yeah, you can play these. They're all playable. But they're not easy. It's a lot of learning, a lot of ControlNet a lot of stylized. But everybody likes the dancing girls on TikTok and Instagram. So I was able to take these different versions and run them through AI, run them through stylized, and the prompts kind of run through them. But it's not easy. But there's tutorials online. If you go on YouTube, there are people teaching this. So I just took the hours to learn, and the DJ ones are my favorite because, I can morph into the back. You see, I'm changing the background as well. I'm changing everything around it, but it's actually keeping to the video. So that's control net. We'll do open pose. We'll do, I'm using a depth map. I'm using a normal map. I'm using a canny map that'll change just the surfaces and just enough. You got to really play with the weights to just get it to change. And I mean the hours and hours it takes to produce these. Just insane. And
I think it's important
feature
to
that I'm able to
point
do
that out. That you said it's hours and hours. So I mean, these images, it's not like you're literally sitting down and typing in a couple of keywords and this stuff's popping out. You're putting the effort into this. You've put lots of time into it. I mean, the product that you're getting is superior, far superior than anything we've seen in a while. So, anybody out there who's interested in doing this stuff, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to put the work into it. But I mean, seeing what you've created here, it's the reward at the end is just phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, everyone says, put 10,000 hours into something and learn it. I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of hours to learn, Python and kind of GitHub and all the different Linux codes and it's not always going to work and it's going to crash and and you got to do these all in the cloud. So you got to spend all the money to actually have it produce. And I've done overnight renders and constant hours to get it. But here's some cool stuff. I'm able to take, videos and kind of, and stylize them over top. So they start with a normal video and then you kind of stylize it into, anime, or you stylize it into, different, everyone likes the marble. So there's basketball videos, and this is one we did for the right song, I believe, and kind of this was a really cool one. This was important to me because I took every frame, I exported it, I clipped it all independently. I ran different prompts on every single section, and then I stitched it all back together with After Effects. So there's a lot of different software. It's not just AI. There's different tools. There's different plugins. There's different, and this was a music video I just did recently for my friend Sean Ward out of Toronto. And I was able to create like a full music video that he wanted. It was all like cannabis based because that's what the song was. But I mean, a full music video, 3 minutes long. This thing would take 8 hours, 7 hours to kind of render. But I was able to go through and just quickly and it's the motion. It's all the different 3D rotations, X and Y, and controlling it, different prompts, and the whole video was just amazing. He got such good, feedback from it, and I got more work from it. A lot of people DM'd and said, "Hey, I got an idea. I've got lyrics. I've got a whole song. How can I, now you're not shooting a music video, you're generating a music video." So to us, that's just amazing. Yeah, it's creativity. Like I said, unlimited. I'm able to take, just a 2D black and white drawing that he drew with a pencil and able to create photorealistic, different kind of versions of it. I can take that photo and use it to guide different images or guide different videos. This is where I took an old Hip Hop Hooray video from Naughty by Nature, and I told Vin, I said, look, and it's from, the early 90s, and I was able to stylize it as anime, then I was able to stylize it and upscale it. You can see the one she just played, that's an early low-res version. And if you go on the complete other side, on the right-hand side, that's a high-res AI kind of version. And that just kind of takes a whole new level of stylizing and controlling the prompts, and you're able to kind of upscale and kind of, here's that higher res version. See how smooth and a lot more, you can upscale it. So I did the 4K version. So that means you can take these old videos from, 90s and early 2000s and remaster them. So that's all the different music labels, all the different yeah, it's amazing. I was very excited to play with, and I'm spoiled. I got in mid. Vinny kind of gives me a lot of footage. So here I kind of, I took just a video that I have. Everybody sees videos online, dancing girls, and I was able to kind of completely change everything about it. So just the background, the style, the look of her, the dance, and that shows that like the power of this AI where you can completely change and remodel. And you have to give credit, right? You give credit to the original kind of poster and the people that create the videos. But you're just changing crazy things about these videos and repurposing them and remixing them for different people. So I think I doubled kind of this one, but this is doing visualizers, right? Taking a video that came out, and everybody has visualizers online for different Spotify, so you're able to kind of, create new types of, looks, new types of theme. So you can, that's my first AI cover that I did for music. They asked me nicely and they said, "Yo, can you just make a AI cover?" Yeah, I'd love to. I love that. So, this is out in the public, it's on Spotify and it's got my work in it. So I was very, very happy and very appreciative of, Vin and KG and everybody from the crew. So, like all these tools are open source. Okay. All these tools are, you can download them, you can play with them. You can go on GitHub, you can learn how to, download them to, run pod, or if you have a power enough computer, you can run it at home, and you can just generate all these photos that you want. All the videos that I'm doing, everything's open source. Nothing is guarded. And yeah, there are some paid things that I paid for, but you decide what you want to pay for, right? You don't have to do everything. So it's really exciting how you can kind of take these tools and kind of generate. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. So you mentioned a couple slides back, you talked about giving credit, to the people who, the original photos, things like that. So is it kind of a gray area there on, what you're using out there? Like this, so AI stuff is not copyrighted. So how do you protect your stuff? You're obviously starting with this stuff over here. You're doing all the work to it. You're hours and hours of work to get what you're creating. Now you put what you've created out there. How do you protect yourself?
You really don't. Okay. You just have to be humble enough to understand that the AI itself, the models themselves are using people's kind of, generated, it's trained on that data. So it's trained on web data. So like, I'm not naive enough to think, oh, these are all mine. This is all me. I created this. No, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, right? That's an expression that a lot in open source, people in the ethics, that's what we use. So we're using other people's work. When I use this tool, this software tool, I didn't develop it, but I'm using it to kind of create these images. So what I do to give back is I give credit to the original, and then I give credit to the people that helped me, that learned the YouTube video, that did the tutorial. I give credit to the people that, created the tools, the control net. So, you just have to be smart. You have to be humble to give credit to all of them. And what I do protect, though, is if I created something completely like all of those, that team of 5, my power 5, Miel and Remy and Jamila, like those are my kind of creations. So I'm going to, use them in my branding, all that, but I can't copyright anything. I'm not going to trademark anything. So if somebody kind of steals one of my photos and does something with it, well, what are you going to steal? I'm going to spend hours moving ahead. I don't look back, and I put blinders on and I do what I do. I don't have time to turn around and look at all the different people taking photos and doing something and reselling. And I'm just going to keep on moving on with what I do. And that's really all you can do. If people are going to be shady and going to steal things and kind of go ahead, man. You're not going to get far in life. You're not going to get far. You can steal stuff right now with Photoshop. You can go online, any website, take something, redo it. So AI does make it easier, yes, but you just have to be humble, and you got to be, smart, and you're not going to copyright anything, but you're going to protect it. I'm going to put watermarks maybe kind of on it and do things, make it harder for them. But I'm not going to I'm not going to do whack-a-mole. I'm not going to start, suing people or chasing people online. I ain't got time for all that. I just don't. Yeah.
No, it's just a good point. Yeah, it is a good point.
Yeah, you just you can't get held up on that. People do, and they start chasing, hey, you can't use that, you can't use that. Well, you're using stuff, man. You're using,
Right.
now inspiration's a really tricky word, right? Because Picasso was inspired by the models that he used and other older everybody's inspired. Now there's a thing with theft, like if you steal somebody's unique look and everything and generate exactly the same, you're just stealing, you're just copying. But if you get inspired by that art, inspired by that, certain style, and you merge styles, I'm all about take a photorealistic, take an anime, take a few other things and mix them together and see what you get. What is it that you want to generate? So yeah, you can skip through this. This was kind of more, you can monetize these, obviously, like you can charge for the generations, right? So yeah, these are fairly, you can go through these fairly quickly. These are just apps that I've built, with ChatGPT to kind of, control it. And these are pictures that I've taken, of different, artworks and different living rooms. And I have an app that I created where I took a picture of my living room and then I ran it through AI. And I was like, wow, I can take my kitchen and now I got a luxury kitchen. And now I've got, a wood, old school kitchen. I can take my living room or a friend's living room and I can create, baroque and kind of inspired. Obviously everybody's got cars in the driveway. So, hey, take your car and make it cyberpunk. So I thought that was just a cool way to use ControlNet to kind of control and do it. The cool ones here in my backyard. Take your backyard and put a swimming pool in it.
I love your pool.
Yeah. So it's just tricks and just kind of using AI. And I thought putting showing my brother that I put a golf club, little golf kind of scene behind it. And who wouldn't want a ice rink, in their backyard? But you can see the tree is the same. The picnic table's the same. It keeps the same structure. So that's where you take the weight of these control nets. And it's just a prompt. You take that image, you put it in one area, you take the prompt and you say, I want a winter wonderland with skating girl, with kind of ice and that, and it'll generate it, So the AI is really powerful when it comes to all these different models. And using data, we all know the data is important, the open source data. So, I got into creating chat GPTs for myself, creating private kind of LLMs, large language models. And that's just super geeky, hey, why don't you just use, Chat GPT? But I like Google, I use Google Cloud. I'm starting into, creating all my own prompts. I wanted to train my own data. So I create my own Chat GPT and I train it on private data. So I train it on your Shopify store, let's say. And I train it so that when you go to my store, you can now say, hey, where did this come from? Where did this what do you use? And LangChain is just other tools and other code that you can add on top of it to have like agents. So an agent would be like, hey, how do I find the best deal on this vacation? And the agent will go online and surf different websites, scrape different data, bring you back the answer and make you, and book the trip for me, all in AI, all kind of controlled. And that's just the future, right, of these autonomous kind of agents going out and kind of using it. So I'm very geeky and very into different tools and plugin that I can use to, stitch all this together. And, AI is moving so fast, so I just try and keep up.
For sure.
Yeah. So this stuff you could go fairly quickly through. I think this was just more the LLM side. Where I took, my wife had an idea. She's like, can you do a story? And if I write you a story, so we made a story, we made a voice, and we made a background, and then, all these different apps can kind of all fit together. And the thing with the AI chatbots are going to be really big next few years, where you can take, a personality. Meta is doing this now, where they got Mr. Beast and they got Snoop Dogg, and I wanted to, create a wrestling one where I took all my favorite wrestlers and put them all into a chat. So chatbots are going to be the next big thing where it's personalized. You can talk to them. I love ChatGPT, and they just released voice for ChatGPT where you can talk to it, right? And my big thing is merch. Well, I love that this is AI virtual live streaming. Like, that's crazy. So now I can create an avatar, like my 5 power team that I created. They can all be selling merch and doing that all live streamed. So to me, like, that's just amazing technology and
That's
amazing
incredible.
ways.
It really is.
Oh, it is. Yeah. So here's like just AI voices that I've cloned. I've done video translation where I can create all of these. They're all the same guy, but he doesn't speak these languages. He does not speak Mandarin, but I have it in his voice, lip synced right to it. And yeah, I don't know if the voice is going to come up, but you have to trust that it's lip synced right to him. It's not dubbed over top, where it's, the old way when you speak Chinese, it would, just kind of put the audio. These are just next generation. I
mean, this is a game changer, though, because now you're reaching every community with the same product. You're sitting there with one ad redubbed in with all the different, the different languages. Now everybody's getting it.
Yeah, so that's the main thing, right? Is, creating, like, we're just working on another project where it's just storytelling, right? So you can create characters, create backgrounds, you can create different scenes and scenarios. So, and the voices, right? And I know the voice thing was really big, and I have a slide coming up where I took Tretch and Uncle Vin and from Naughty, and I was able to, train their voices, and Tupac's voice and Biggie's voice are kind of there, and I was able to just kind of switch it up, like the Drake, and kind of just testing everything. Now you got to be smart. You don't release those kind of things, and you don't monetize those kind of things. It's just more, learning the technology and to be able to use it on your projects. So, some people do, or, hey, if you're going to be a bad actor, you're going to be a bad actor. So AI kind of gives you tools to kind of do it a lot more, but you just have to have, your values and know that you have to do things for good. You have to use technology for good. And these are just AI automation and AI tools that I use to kind of merge everything that I do. So you're able to stitch them all together, and this is kind of what I did, and this was popular at first. We sent it out to different friends, and they loved it. They thought it was crazy that you're able to switch the voices and kind of do different voice cloning. But I did it more as a geek, as to learn how to train everything and learn the back end stuff, the technical stuff. And so later on, I'm able to create voices for my team and create different kind of logos, right? And these are characters. So I think characters are going to be big, AI characters. So you're able to kind of train and use them. So. Yeah, and I think we're almost done. So this is more virtual employees. That's a big thing too, is get a marketing writer and get a ad writer and everything, and able to kind of, I have Indigenous people here in Canada, so I was able to train on their voice and put different text and put different languages. And I think, to me, that's like one of the most powerful things. So using tools like Whisper and PyTorch and Solero, like all of these different AI tools and machine learning tools, and you're able to kind of stitch them together to create projects and to kind of make things kind of go through. That's all I have. I know it's a little bit, it's a lot.
No. Oh, it was amazing. I mean, and one of the things, you talked about, monetizing, and how, like, you're not going to monetize with some of that stuff, like, the chatbots and things, but the way, it's almost a backwards monetization, because you're monetizing in a different way. Instead of making money off of these things, you're actually saving money. So you're making money that way, instead of spending the money that you would normally spend to hire these people, to, hire the marketing agency, the photographers, the people to do the voiceovers, all the stuff that you'd be spending money on. Instead, you're monetizing backwards by not spending money on that and saving yourself money. So that money that's in the bank stays there.
Yeah, and and it's unfortunate that some jobs are going to kind of go by, but as every kind of industrial revolution kind of happened, and this tech revolution, the internet,
evolution,
like a lot. And now that AI kind of, it just moves ahead. Technology doesn't care. It doesn't have feelings. It just kind of, once it's out of the genie and out of the bottle, it kind of just, companies are going to use it, and companies are going to, like you said, save money. So a lot of those jobs can go to being creative. They can go to being, having the human element. You still need human elements to some of these jobs. You still need people to, train and to, do customer service, at some point, like people say, like when they call, they're like, I don't want a robot. I don't want an AI. I want a human. And like, so over the next 10 years or so, we're going to see a shift from some of these jobs are going to get replaced, but then new jobs are going to get created. Okay. New jobs are going to come up that people are going to, the human element is still going to be there and still. So it's about, like, yes, some models are going to lose their job. Not all of them, because, even though I can create a photorealistic model, and maybe later I can have, she can have feelings and she can have, opinions and kind of everything. It won't be real. People will know that it's not a real human, that it'll be AI generated, and there is technology coming out that is going to watermark. It's going to be odd, okay? It's going to be a shift because these AIs are going to get smarter. They're going to get more human-like. So they're putting in feelings, they're putting in things, so people will, get tricked. Some people will have nefarious, but then there'll be other companies that'll be open and transparent, just like they are now, and they're going to, tell everybody this is AI generated, you're speaking to an AI photo, you're speaking to an AI video, and it's just gonna, some companies will do that and they'll be ahead. The ones that want to do it shady, we've seen what happens in history when people kind of lie and kind of cheat their way. They don't end up staying. They'll make money and they'll scam people and then they'll be gone because they'll get sued. The SEC will come. The government will come. Regulations are coming, right? AI regulations are going to be in place. And it's just the way that, technology moves. This is a fast-moving technology, so it's going to be very exciting the next 5 years. Next year, 1 year, it's going to be crazy.
Well, you're right. And everything that you touched on tonight, we've covered a lot of information here, and, we're going to put this information in the Discord, and also, you'll have the YouTube video to watch. But, when we talk about jobs being replaced and new jobs being created, for any of you who are out there who are interested in learning some of this stuff, this is where the future is, but the future's now. So, this is, if you're interested in learning some of this, go in, play around. I know Pixel mentioned that if you wanted to actually get deeply involved in this, you do need a higher powered computer than the average computer. And if you're going to put the time in to learn all of this stuff, it's not going to be, I watched a week's worth of YouTube videos, I'm ready to go. It's going to be an investment in time, but you're going to, reap the rewards on the other end. You saw the work that he created. It was amazing. So, remember that. And, as with anything, and the last thing we touched on here is ethics. Be ethical. Be ethical. Do your due diligence. Go out there, create amazing things, make a positive change in this world, whether you're helping somebody's job be easier, you're creating your own brand to help you with your business. Whatever you do, just do it right. Do it right.
Absolutely. No, you couldn't have said that any better. Like, that's one of the main things that the messaging about AI kind of gets involved. And there's a thing with, the confinement, right? And, they want to train AI, ethically. So they want to ask permission now. Like, so a lot of these artists were like, you stole my art, you kind of this. Well, the new generations of these AI models are actually asking permission. You can opt out of the kind of some of these things, but they have to understand that, like, some of this data that was given, to these online communities, these online kind of sites, and there's terms of service in there that they gave to, allowed kind of certain things, and people paid for a lot of that data, and your art. But if you want to be protective of your art and your style, you can be. You just have to be a lot more diligent on what sites you put it on, how big you get. Instagram and Facebook and Meta, those are public ones, but they own that data. You can't just scrape all that data, use it for yours and generate and kind of do that. And that's why some people don't give credit. They don't give, annotations. They don't give credit. I think, it's just smart to do that, to reach out to the videos. If you take a basketball video from somebody that did that and you want to put AI to it, hit them up, ask them, hey, I'm going to use this, and would you like me to, if I posted it, can you reshare it? And they usually, they're very excited. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe it looks like that. And they'll share it and they'll get love. And but it goes both ways. Other people are going to complain, and I just think it's just one of those things where you just got to be good. You got to be good people. There's going to be bad people online, and you just got to be a good AI artist and a creator. And you can use all these tools, free. Learn how to do it and generate it, and then work for brands. You saw the brand work that I'm doing.
Yep.
Well, some of these brands are like, we love this. We love that you can do this for us, and you can kind of create these different models and put our merch on it, and kind of. Like you said, they're saving money and they're saving different areas, and that's going to help them give their company more money and give their employees more money. So it's a double-edged sword sometimes. That's how tech is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing all this with us.
Oh,
It was
you're
great
very
to have
welcome.
you back on the show. Love having you back on. So next week we are going to do prompt engineering part 2 with Meta Day.
Awesome.
She'll be here to help us. Very excited to have her on. It's great having people who are on the show come back again and tell us, where they're at right now and how much they've grown. You've done that tonight. We've got Meta coming back on, and next month we actually have Cybashay coming back on to show us things that she's been doing. It's great to see this community growing. There's so many things, like you said, this is a fast moving technology.
So
Everything
fast.
that we talk about on this show is fast moving in some way, shape, or form. So it's incredible to watch all of you grow with it. I'm loving this ride of learning all the stuff that you guys are doing. And, we've got an incredible show in November. We've got some great people coming on that are a little bit more VR oriented. We typically talk on here mostly, Web3, NFTs, AI, crypto. We're going to talk a little bit more of the VR stuff as well in the month of November.
Awesome.
And I think that'll be pretty interesting because we're in here every day. We're in here all the time, and we kind of take some of this stuff for granted, but it doesn't happen, overnight. There are things in here. There are world creators like Kip. There's, people who are in here writing scripts. There's people in here who are hosting. Everybody's doing different things in VR. And it's great to watch all of this, grow into something that for us is day-to-day commonplace. And, for people coming into it who are wowed by it, they're watching us do this stuff with, I say ease, but you know what I'm saying. It's more like this is now common for us. And I want them to, a year from now, I want to see them sitting on this couch telling me like, oh my God, I saw this person, PixelAddikt, on your show and he inspired me. And I went out there and started learning all this. Look at what I'm doing. This is where we're in the forefront of this, bringing all these ideas to the table right now. So very excited, and I hope all of you will be back for the next show to learn more about prompt engineering. And again, follow us on Instagram, check out our Discord, watch the videos on YouTube, and thank you for spending your Monday night with us. We appreciate you. See you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks. Amazing city. This looks amazing. I love it.
Thank you.